relay boxes. The man's gloved hands went to work, adjusting valve positions and opening and closing certain relays. The masked man looked Jaime in the eyes and replied, "I know you and your friends don't like to keep a low profile, Mr. Olivo. And I know that you've made quite a reputation for yourself exposing deeply buried secrets down at Metro 10 News." Jaime stood silently. The price of fame, he thought to himself while he watched the mystery man. "I know you live for the thrill of the hunt, Mr. Olivo, and the victory when your stories achieve true justice we all seek," he continued. "But what I'm about to reveal to you must remain a secret that you share with nobody, not even on your dying day," he finished speaking with an unusually seen earnest. The armored gloves of the man in black touched a small stud on the belt buckle that held his utility web belt around his waist, and the small stone and metal chamber was filled with a thunderous rumble as the stone wall behind Jaime and his liberator detached itself from those surrounding it, revealing a blue-lighted walkway. The gloved hand offered the walkway to Jaime, that he may enter it first, and he did, the man in black following behind him. The rocky rumble sound signaled the closing of the secret door, and soon Jaime only heard the footfalls of him and his companion. The man's gruff bass voice broke the silence as they walked. "This isn't in your history book, son, so pay attention," he said. "About 100 years ago, the American government was introduced to certain realities it was not prepared to consider. And while we got lucky the first few times, it began a series of programs to ensure Uncle Sam would always have the upper hand in the event of these unplanned events. They gathered the top scientists, inventors, and researchers in every academic field and every subject to craft a countermeasure that America would always have sole access and control." They walked deeper and deeper along the blue-lighted walkway. Jaime thought they had walked much farther than the distance of his Tunnel Street sprint. "By the end of the big one," he said before Jaime cut him off. "The big one?" the younger man asked. The black helmet turned. Dark eye ports looked at Jaime. "World War II. The big one," the man responded. "Oh," Jaime answered sheepishly. "When World War II ended, our access to certain resources ended. But with 30 years of research between the wars and an ever-growing American industrial base to fuel its growth, Washington had prepared a contingency program of its own." The duo approached several steel doors which blinked their red diode lights to green as the doors rolled into their wall recessways. "We already had the best fighting men. Both wars proved that. But we learned during those wars, and during the time in between, that America's enemies would go to any extreme length to overthrow and humiliate us, and we wouldn't allow that to happen. While the American military built national contingency plans with its post-war allies openly, we put our real efforts into our own defense program, secretly, so secret the military and most of the government would never learn of its existence." The man in black stopped at yet another steel door. Unlike the others, its red light did not flash green and open automatically in a repeat action of the prior portals. It remained locked and closed. "Remember, Mr. Olivo, what you see here today will forever remain a secret. You will speak to no one about it. That even means your special friends. Because if you do, I'll have to kill you," he said with a nod of his helmeted face and a wink of his eye. The man in black reached his gloved hands to a switch with 3 buttons on it and pressed the one in the center. The release of pressurized air surrounded in the chamber where Jaime Olivo and the man in black stood. The heavy metal door swung inward. Lights automatically switched on in succession, illuminating the chamber ahead of him, and they continued to light section after section of the secret underground construction. There were rooms with vehicles, computer systems, machine shops, laboratories, medical bays. There were more rooms, sealed behind iron doors, like the one he stood in with the man in the black armor. Jaime was dumbfounded as he looked at the site of the huge complex. It looked like something out of one of those old super spy films from England. James What's-His-Name, with a different actor in each film playing the same role. Unlike those cinematic bases bustling with people, this one was empty and silent. The sound of the automatic lights were the only ones to echo back to his ears. The man in black, who called himself Gladiator 8, extended his gloved hand one more time, inviting Jaime Olivo into the vast underground complex. "This is the amphitheater, Mr. Olivo," he said. "Welcome to Nemesis." You've been listening to Jim Dynamo's Bad Machine. Be part of the radio revolution by following our Twitter page at Bad Machine Radio and by visiting Jim Dynamo's Bad Machine on Facebook. Bad Machine is a one-man media production, the exclusive owner of all original content. Otherwise, no rights are reserved. 2016.